Today on the podcast, Jim Vasquez. Jim is the superintendent of Socorro ISD, recently stepping into the role after serving as interim. He is known for his approachable leadership and for building strong relationships with every member of the school community. Earlier in his career, he was principal at Horizon Heights Elementary, a struggling campus that had had 5 principals in 10 years. By focusing on listening, trust, and culture, Jim transformed the school into one of the district's strongest. Today, we'll explore how he built trust through one-on-one conversations, why culture must come before strategy, and how to sustain transformation through challenges. Let's get into the conversation. Jim, one of the things I admire about you is when I was looking up a little bit about your background, I came across an interview of a bus driver.
Wow.
In Socorro.
Oh, yeah.
And he was sharing how excited he was that you had been named superintendent. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Why would he be so excited?
Yeah.
And of course, the interview asked him, and he said, because he came down and is connecting with us. And he referred to himself as the little people. Even the little people he's taking time to connect with. And I really value how important it is to build relationships with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this young man, as a bus driver, was so enthusiastic about you being there. So I am so excited to get to have time with you today. Thank you for
appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Sharing time with us,
Thank you.
Jim. So we're gonna talk about this transformational leader, right? And what it takes to take a campus that's hurting to a campus that's thriving. And you were sharing with me that you served as principal of Horizon Heights High School. Tell me about that school. What was that like?
So it's Horizon Heights Elementary School.
Elementary school, yes. Horizon Heights Elementary.
So I actually served as a principal at 3 different schools, but this is where I spent the most time. I was there for 5 years. Okay. So I think I was able to make more of a change at this school than the others, quite honestly. But it was a struggling school. I was the 5th principal in 10 years.
Okay.
So we see every couple of years they're getting a new principal. So there were really no processes, no procedures, no systems in place at this school. So I think it really was a matter of giving them direction, finding their purpose and that communication. So, so as a result of all the changes in the leadership, scores weren't where they should have been. Great teachers, great kids, but I think due to lack of systems. So that was the first thing I noticed and we worked on.
So what we think about, sometimes how leaders have to start with building relationships, because often there's, we'll call it hurt. Right? The campus is hurting in some way. When you first arrived, what did you see that you would have said was hurting or broken?
I think it was just that they just seemed to have a lack of direction. So what I did when I first started, and I've done this at all the 3 schools I was a principal at, is I met with every teacher, every staff member, custodians, office staff. Tell me all the great things going on at this school. Jotted them down. I tell me where some of the challenges are here at this school, and jotted those down. So once I met with everybody, I started to see trends, and there were things that I thought were great about the school, but nobody liked it. So and then I noticed, okay, that's my roadmap. Now I need to kind of get rid of these things, or things that they loved and I might not have liked. I can't change that. I got to keep that going.
Do you remember a few things that were a priority during that time?
There were a couple of programs. I'm trying to think back with there was this one program that they just did not like.
Okay.
And they didn't feel it was being successful. So we moved away from that. A lot of the things too are just being visible, being present, building relationships. Sure. And so that served as my roadmap. So now that I see what they wanted, what they didn't want, I started to get little victories at the school just by making these changes. And I think that's what built trust. Not only did I listen to them and speak to them, but I'm taking their advice and their suggestions. And that's how we started to build trust little by little. And then just having that time with them, that was just the start of the community of just the relationship building. Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, just the relationships you build with your staff. And I think that example you used earlier with the bus driver in our district.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy talking with them. I talk to everybody, and I think that's the key. So I like going down to the to the bus barn or just other places and just chatting with people.
But I think it's different when it's talking to someone and having a genuine interest in what they're saying.
Yeah.
Right. I think there is a big difference, and people can feel that. So obviously, this young man felt that you really were listening.
Exactly.
It is a pattern that we see in transformational leaders. They're great listeners. Yeah. They're curious, right? And then they take that knowledge that they've gained and they start sharing a strategy.
That's exactly.
So, what were some of the strategies that came out that you felt like you were continuing the wins?
One of the things was it seemed like it was kind of a divided campus. Not everybody got along with each other. There was some little infighting here and there. So just doing like a lot of team building, those types of things, because culture trumps strategy every time.
Strategy.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's all about that culture building, and it took time. And quite honestly, and this is the hard part, is that not everybody was a fit for that school, if you will. Maybe they were going to find success elsewhere, but I was looking at building a positive environment where everybody got along, and not everybody wants that, and that's fine. So eventually, some found their way out, and I started hiring people who were more like-minded, who really fit the culture of the school, and I think that's the big piece is. You can have a rock star teacher, but if they're not the right fit for that grade level or that school, then maybe that's not the person we get. I might get a rookie teacher who's can still mold them. So sometimes I've even sacrificed test scores and so forth just because I knew they would be a great fit for the school.
Sure.
And eventually we get there.
Yeah. People first.
That's exactly right.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. One of the things I love about these conversations is how they remind us your work in education matters, and your commitment to growth can ripple out to change entire communities. At Graceland University, we support educators on that journey through degree programs and partnerships rooted in purpose, not just credentials. For more information, see the QR code on screen or follow the link in the show notes. Now back to the episode. So we have this thing we talk about on our team, that when we add a new team member, we give them space to culture detox. Because we believe that most people have come out of an environment that has hurt them in some way, or built patterns of behavior in them that don't fit with us. So we want to give them time, lots of attention to move, to be assimilated into our culture. When you are stepping in, right, you're trying to come into a big group and detox.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
At once, but it takes time.
It does.
Right. It takes intentional relationship building. Was there any crisis that came up during that time that tried to derail what you were doing?
There were some more on the personnel side. Maybe they weren't fully on board with what I was wanting to do, or the vision for the school, and so they would try maybe to undermine what I was doing sometimes.
Pockets of resistance.
That's exactly right. So I think that was kind of the big thing there. But just eventually, those who stuck around came around, and they saw, okay, I see what this guy's trying to do. At first, they see, well, why is this guy trying to change things here? But once they see the vision, and I think that's the big piece, is you have to communicate with them. Teachers and people in general, we're resistant to change. But as long as you explain to them why we're having to make these changes, they're going to understand. They still may not like it, but at least they understand, okay, I see why they're doing that. And the same with the community as a whole, like with parents and so forth. When we made changes to the school, like if there was like dress code changes or traffic pattern changes, it always came through a lot of communication first. I never tried to change things overnight.
Okay, no surprises.
No surprises, and get input, feedback, and dialogue with them for a while, and then make the changes. That way, everybody sees, okay, I understand why we're making these changes. I may not agree, but at least I understand where we're headed. So.
it takes a lot of confidence
Yeah.
to stand and face this, right?
Yeah.
Because I can imagine.
Yeah.
Tell me about how important that is and how you do that. Of course, obviously there's no arrogance or pridefulness in that confidence. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely, and it's not really I like to get feedback from people, and it's not just, I want to do this, we're going to change it. I don't make changes until after I've discussed it with a variety of people and get their input, and they say, I think it's time for the change for this and that. Sure. And I get, from a good cross-section of people, get some feedback. Then I feel, then that's where I get the confidence. Okay, what I was seeing was right. Yes. So how do we do this? Again, working back and forth with people behind the scenes to come up with systems and so forth. But then moving forward, it's never ever just me. It's always a team, and anybody who thinks they do things on their own, they're crazy. It's
confidence in the process.
It's confidence in the process after talking with these folks and having them help me build a vision.
And I think also, there's not a fear of failure. It's willing to see that, hey, we've come together. Yeah. You're going to try this, right? And we're going to learn and adjust as we move forward.
That's exactly right.
Because the right kind of relationship leader isn't going to punish, right, the team if it doesn't work right.
Yeah.
The first time we came together as home, you made the decision. Yeah.
I'll tell you just like an example. We were about to implement a guided reading program into our school, and I was on this aggressive timeline on how we were going to implement this, and I shared it with the team, and they were supportive and so forth. But then one of my third grade teachers, I'll never forget this, quiet, super positive lady, great, never complained about anything. She came to me in tears and said, "We're moving too fast." She said, my students aren't being successful. I think we need to take a step back. And so I asked her, well, tell me more about it. And then, so she shared with me more. I said, well, what do you think we need to do? And she gave me her feedback, and it was great feedback. And I said, you know what? I agree with what you're saying. So talked about it with the team a little, the leadership team, and talked about it with some teachers, and they were in agreement. They said, we are moving fast. And so it took a lot of courage for that teacher to come to me and share that with me. But I'm glad I listened, because the implementation was successful. May not have been as successful had we kept on with that aggressive timeline.
Push through.
So it's about listening, and building those relationships where she felt comfortable enough to talk to me about this.
Yeah. Jim, I appreciate you sharing that story. When you look back on what you accomplished there, what is a moment that you're most proud of?
It was when I was principal at the time of the Sandy Hook shooting.
Okay.
And that was tough because I was a principal. The principal there was killed, so I saw that's my peer. And they're all devastated. They're all sad, all the shootings. But this one happened at an elementary school, and I was an elementary principal. So that one hit especially hard. And I remember talking to a parent in particular. He says, what can we do? This is right before Christmas. And he says, what can we do? We need you to do something. So over the break, I just researched different things, programs, and I found this, the Watchdogs program, where dads come in. They serve as another set of eyes for safety around the school, but then it's a male role model there. And so I ran it by some folks, ran it by this dad who had come to speak to me, and they all loved the idea. So we implemented that. That was 2011, 2012, something like that. And that program is still going strong today. Wow. And 10 years after I left in 2015. Wow. So it's still going strong. Wow, so I think that legacy that we created and getting the parents involved, keeping the kids safe, I think that's probably the thing I'm most proud of.
Fantastic. That's awesome. So I can hear all the transformation, the relationships that happened. Well, from an outcome standpoint, what did it look like a few years after you were there?
It was great. I will say this, like I tell you, the culture is even more important to me than getting immediate results. Sure. So there were some folks who left the school who were successful teachers, but didn't quite have the same mindset as we're looking for. So we did take a dip in some scores initially after they left, but then we rose back up, and I left that school in much better shape than I found it in. Our scores were among the best in the district.
Wow.
And it was just getting
Turnover was lower.
Turnover was
Staff
lower.
was
People
happy to
loved
show
it.
up.
Yeah,
Parents were volunteering.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at the things that we've talked about.
Yeah, so it was just a great culture. And I was so sad to leave. I was in tears, honestly, when I left. But it was, I was just happy that I left it in better shape than I found it.
I'm surprised they let you leave.
Yeah.
You must have snuck out at night.
I snuck out.
Yes, yeah. No, I think that is outstanding. And thank you for highlighting that there can be a dip in performance. Because, change, it can be intense, and sometimes people don't get on board. And sometimes in an investment, sometimes you put money into something, right? And you lose money, but you're retooling and in some way you lose performance because you're retooling and adjusting, but it's with this shared vision, right? And that turned around. And so I think for new principals coming up that are facing something hard, it doesn't instantly get better.
Yeah.
Because you build relationships, right? That's step one.
That's right.
Now you got to assess, implement your strategy, and sometimes that's going to cause people to have to step off the team.
That's right. That's right.
They're just not the best fit. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And I obviously kids are first and foremost, but I had this philosophy that I followed is, if I take care of my teachers, the teachers are going to take care of the kids, and the kids will be happy. And if the kids are happy, the parents are going to be happy. So I focused on making sure I gave the teachers the tools they needed to be successful, helped support them as much as I could and wherever I could. And that way they can support our students. But I know since I didn't have that direct impact on the students, I had to go through the teachers since they had that direct impact. But then, of course, you build the relationships with kids. I still get reminded today by some parents when I run into them. They said, you always knew every student's name. How did you do that? I said, I don't know. I just, but it's just building that relationship across the board, students, parents, and staff.
I do think people get that out of order sometimes. Mm-hmm. I do think the angry parent distracts. And so I give into the angry parent, but I've undermined the teacher in the way. And so, it's definitely true that I think as we invest in, it's kind of like your own family, right? As I invest in my own family, then they can go out and invest in others. Your teachers are your family. So by pouring into them, which part of that meant having to say who needs to be in the family.
That's exactly right.
Because, supporting your teachers doesn't mean there's no accountability.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely there's accountability. Got to make sure we're all moving in the right direction.
That's exactly
right. But of course, then they can tend to children, performing children, everybody, happy children, happy parents. Yeah. And now the system is working like it should.
That's exactly right.
That's great. Thank you for outlining that model. I really appreciate you being with me today, Jim.
Thank you for having me. It was a great conversation.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. If today's conversation gave you fresh insight or inspired you to lead with purpose, please follow the show and tell a friend. It helps us reach more educators who want to make a difference. For more stories, resources, and tools to support your leadership journey, visit graceland.edu. Until next time, keep leading with courage and care. If you want to keep learning about transformational strategies in education, click the next video.